All right, so we are few, but we are many. If you haven't figured out who I am, I'm Nancy Zwick. I work at TriHealth, and I am basically at TriHealth. What my title there is a health coach. So I spend basically 40 hours a week on the phone with mainly team members trying to help them manage chronic diseases, mainly diabetes and weight. All right. But as you heard, I do other things. So I am an adjunct at several different colleges. I've done that my whole married life, and it'll be 39 years. Oh my gosh. 39 years I've been an adjunct in several different colleges around. But anyway, so that's who I am. We're going to focus on gut health, all right? So that's how we're going to get started. And I love it because it talks about the things that our GI tract does, which is embarrassing and painful and sometimes makes it hard for us to socialize. And it is actually usually not our GI tract's fault, except I will blame getting older. Older, unfortunately, does increase these things to happen just because our GI tract is not working as well. The muscles are getting tired. I could go on and on. But anyway, a lot of the heartburn, the hiccups, the gurgling, and all that has a lot to do with what we choose to eat and drink over time, all right? So chewing gum, swallowing air is a big reason for gas and burping. Same with carbonated beverages. Are, again, people that eat really, really fast because, you know, we work 24/7 and we don't, so I could go on and on. So again, just for you guys to think about that, all right? All right. Okay, I got it, I think. Come on. Did it not? There we go. All right. And I'm going to go quickly through this. I just like to start out with the mouth and go till the end. So our GI tract is a very long muscle. It starts at the mouth and then ends at the back side, all right? So these are just some things that could affect your mouth health, which then in turn could affect other parts of your body, all right? All right, same with this. And again, I'm just going over those. We're going to talk about a few of them in a little detail in a minute. All right. This, again, I love, and I do this mainly with my students because I think people take their teeth for granted, and your teeth are alive, and the older you get, they do change and fall apart, and depending on what you've done to abused your teeth over a lifetime will, again, determine how your teeth are going to end up when you get older. And let me tell you, dentures, I would not wish that on my worst enemy, and implants are extremely expensive. So again, taking care of your mouth, taking care of your teeth is, again, one of those first steps into trying to keep your whole GI tract healthy. All right, so again, what we're going to take from here is we're going to focus on sugar, okay? So I asked everybody to write down as best as they could everything they eat and drink, okay? I want you to, out of what you wrote down that you could remember, I want you to list any high sugar items you think you consumed. So obvious things would be cakes, cookies, pies, donuts, Pop-Tarts, cereal bars, pastries of any kind. Those are some of the obvious ones. If you used a lot of jelly, then that's going to sneak in there. So any high sugar items you think you consumed in the last 24 hours, if you want to write them down, okay? All right, so basically what I want you to take from this slide is that most people consume a lot of added sugar. At about 350 calories to 444 calories, okay? That is a lot compared to the recommendation, which is only 100 calories for women and 150 for men, okay? So now by law, FDA decided that all food companies had to provide information on that food label about added sugar, because that's how dangerous it is. Sugar is a drug. It's addictive. It's compared to cocaine. But besides being addictive, it is extremely harmful to the body in so many ways. Of course, we're going to focus on the GI tract, not just dental health, but it also does not help our colon, our small intestines, because it causes inflammation. So we are trying very, very hard to educate people on the importance of trying to stay away from added sugar. That is why the American Heart, believe it or not, came up with these recommendations. So when you look at a label, sugar is a carbohydrate, so it's 4 calories per gram, all right? So sugar is 4 calories per gram. So if you do your math, 100 calories is not many grams of added sugar at all, okay? So with that, I'm going to ask this wonderful gentleman, who I forgot to ask his name, who we're going to do our first YouTube video. So I'm going to go ahead. Do I need to get out of this altogether?
Yes, probably. And then,
Okay. I'll do that, and then I will go. Oh no, don't tell me I lost them all. I think I did.
right here.
Oh, no, they all disappeared when I turned something off. That's all right. We did all that work for nothing. That's okay. It is what today is all about. Let me get them back up. There we go. Here we go. Yeah, this is the one we want to show. Oh, good. It's up there. It's all good. Thanks. Good.
Of sugar. We'll also answer the question of if fruit is good or bad for you at the end, so don't miss it. Number 1, sugar can give you wrinkles and adds age to your face. Scientists from Leiden University Medical Center in the Netherlands measured the blood sugar levels of 600 men and women aged between 50 and 70. They then showed the photographs of these people to 60 separate participants and found that those with higher blood sugar looked older than those with lower blood sugar levels. In fact, for every 1 millimeter per liter increase in blood sugar, the perceived age of that person rose by 5 months. Number 2, sugar is associated with acne. Foods ranked high on the glycemic index, such as sugar and refined carbs, have been associated with greater amounts of acne on the face and body, according to the latest research. A study of Australian men showed that those who ate a diet with a low glycemic load saw a great reduction in overall acne. It was a small study with only 23 men, but is still food for thought. Number 3, sugary drinks cause an 83% increased risk in developing type 2 diabetes. In one study of 91,249 women showed that those who consumed 1 sugar-sweetened beverage a day had an 83% increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to those that only had 1 a month. Number 4, sugar intake increases the risk of developing certain types of cancers. There has been a direct link seen between breast and colon cancer with sugar consumption. This is likely due to the fact that insulin is one of the key factors behind the growth and multiplication of cells, and sugar spikes insulin to abnormally high levels. Number 5, sugar can ruin your teeth. A study done by the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that sugar destroys the healthy bacteria in the mouth. This can cause tooth erosions and may dim that bright smile. What about sugar and weight gain? There are 5 reasons why sugar can cause us to gain weight. Number 6, sugar is the premier definition of empty calories. It has no real nutritional value, no nutrients, no minerals, no proteins, and no fiber. Because of this lack of nutrients, number 7, sugar makes you feel hungry. In a study done by Yale University, those that consumed sugar had an increased appetite and desire for more. So not only does sugar fill you up with empty calories, it makes you want more of those calories. This process happens when sugar screws up the hormonal levels in the body, which leads to number 8, sugar blocks leptin and raises insulin to supernatural levels. Leptin is a hormone in charge of telling us that we're full and need to stop eating. It also tells us that we have energy and should go out and use that energy. Sugar consumption blocks this hormone from doing its job and from reaching the brain. Sugar also spikes insulin, making it very hard for the body to access and burn the stored fat on our bodies. Number 9, sugar causes belly fat. Numerous studies have shown direct links from sugar to the increased accumulation of belly fat. This is the worst kind of fat because it is the one associated with all sorts of diseases, including the world's #1 killer, heart disease. Despite knowing all of this, it's hard to stop eating sugar because number 10, sugar is addictive. Similar to drugs like cocaine, scientists have shown that sugar causes a very similar dopamine release in the brain. Studies on neuroplasticity have also shown that drug users have very similar behavioral addictions to those addicted to sugar. Point blank, sugar is addicting and it comes without the immediate social repercussions of frequent drug use. That's why it's so hard to stop eating it. How much should you eat per day? None. There is not a real reason to be eating this food in your diet, but only on the rare occasion as a treat. What about fruit? Fruit has fiber, vitamins, minerals, water, and tons of nutrients that refined sugar does not have. This is why when studies compare diets with refined sugar to fruit sugar, the negative effects are not the same. That being said, you will want to pay attention to fruit sugar if your goal is weight loss. Things like fruit smoothies are not good for weight loss goals as they do still have sugars, even though those sugars are natural. Sticking to whole sources like apples, oranges, and berries are a much better idea. What should you do if you can't stop eating sugar? I think this subject needs to be covered in greater detail, so either next week or sometime soon we will be making a video about breaking sugar addiction if that's something you guys want. Breaking a sugar addiction is a great way to help the body lose weight, but of course cutting out sugar isn't the only piece you need for fast and effective weight loss. There are 10 important scientific steps you must understand to get fast and consistent weight loss results.
We're
These
not
basic
about weight
steps.
loss tonight. Okay, great. All right, so with that said, while I'm booting up my PowerPoint again, think about it. Did anybody have high sugar intake, what they wrote down by any chance?
I had a cookie for dessert.
Okay, okay. All right. So
Cereal, I don't put sugar on my cereal, but it probably has some sugar.
what kind of cereal do you eat?
Cheerios.
Cheerios, plain Cheerios?
Yeah.
They're pretty good. Honey Nut, something like that is going to have a lot of added sugar. So what I would encourage you guys to do is to look at food labels, okay? So basically this, for women, it's 25 grams of added sugar. That adds up quicker than you think. So think about it as I work with all my clients that are managing their diabetes. I always worry about the winter because we start with Halloween, tons of candy, run into Christmas, a lot of sugar, then we run into Valentine's Day, Easter. It's just mind-boggling the amount of added sugar that we are exposed to on a day-to-day basis. All right, it is very easy. So that again is why the FDA has required by law to try to make people aware, because if that hopefully YouTube video gave you some glimpse on how important it is to stay away from added sugar, because it's addictive and it does a lot of harm to the body, and not just people managing their diabetes. Okay, all right, let's move on to the stomach. All right, and I'll make this screen again for you guys. All right, so stomach health. All right, is everybody familiar with what heartburn is, ulcers are, high handle hernias are, okay, and a GERD? Okay, so going back to my first slide where I was having that letter to your GI tract, GERD is something that unfortunately our society pretty much created because of the way we eat and the volume of food we eat. All right, so GERD basically is chronic heartburn. All right, that's constant acid getting up into your esophagus, causing lots of pain and discomfort. For some people, they could feel like they're having a heart attack. All right, it is a chronic problem, and of course, there's medications out there to take care of it. And GERD is not something to ignore, which a lot of people do. Oh, I just have heartburn again. But they don't realize if you don't manage your GERD and you let it go on for years and years and years, it's doing a lot of damage to your esophagus. It's causing ulcers that could bleed. It's causing cell damage, what puts you at risk for esophageal cancers. So I always tell people, don't ignore GERD. I actually know a couple people that are dealing with cancer because of GERD. So I know it's true. All right, so what do we want to do as a dietitian? Again, we want people to eat small meals, all right? What is a small meal? I use calories. 500 calories or less is considered a small meal, all right? So, and we also don't want people eating more than 3 times a day, all right? Because every time you eat something, it produces stomach acid. The more you produce stomach acid, the more chances you have that stomach acid increasing to get into your esophagus to cause damage, all right? We definitely want you to eat a lighter meal in the evening. I always tell people the biggest meal of the day should be breakfast. You should feel like you're a queen or a king. You get to eat a large amount. And there's several reasons I truly believe that, because then that food that you eat at breakfast or the first meal of the day, whatever time it is, will be used for energy throughout the day when your metabolism is high and you're really needing the energy. Your lunch should be the next biggest, and your evening meal should be very small. It should be like you're homeless, which is very opposite in our society. For most people, their biggest meal of the day is in the evening. The biggest thing with GERD and why we want it to be a small meal is you do not want to go to sleep with a full stomach, all right? Because that laying down will then increase the chances of acid getting up into your esophagus and causing a lot of pain. So if I am working with anybody that is trying to manage the GERD, the first point I will try to have them work on is to stop eating at least 2 hours. 4 hours is best before you go to bed because of the whole laying down, all right? And again, that is a good habit for everybody. I always tell people, they ask me about fasting. I'm like, yeah, your body was naturally supposed to fast. You basically, last meal of the day, 6 p.m., you don't eat until 6 a.m. or after the next. That's a natural fast. You don't have to make it up. Your body's supposed to do that type thing. So, all right. This is just up there. When I'm working with somebody that is dealing with GERD, there are some foods that might cause an increase of acid production, but this is very individualized. All right, so it's not something I spend a lot of time on. When it comes to managing GERD, I really focus on how people are eating, because that's what is usually the main problem. Eating too fast, eating large meals, type thing, and of course going to bed with a full stomach. All right, here we go. The small intestines is where, again, gut health. Prebiotics, probiotics, we're going to talk all about them, all right? And your small intestines, as maybe you guys know, and if you don't, very large. Like if you took them out, they would wrap around this room a couple times. A lot of small intestines in a small, yes. They do a very important job, of course. Basically, you eat food, you chew it up, it gets down into your esophagus, the acid starts breaking it down, but the small intestines does most of the work. It really breaks it down, but that's where all the absorption happens. That's where all the protein gets absorbed into wherever it needs to go, carbs, fats, all your vitamins, your minerals. That's where everything's really happening. And guess what is in the small intestines and is essential to have this happen? Bacteria. Everybody thinks of bacteria as bad. It is not bad. Friendly bacteria live in your gut, your small intestines and your large intestines, and it's essential to helping your body process the foods and beverages we consume. I'm going to need your help. We're going to listen to one of my favorite dietitians, and again, I'm going to go ahead and pop it back up. I apologize. We did all that work for nothing, but that's okay. I'll find it quickly. They are videos that I use a lot, so it's not like I don't know what I'm looking for. There she is. Good help. All right, so hopefully it'll work as well as it did the first time. All right, we're up. Hold on.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
Thank
We're
you.
talking about bacteria. Hi, I'm Tracy Lockwood Beckerman. I'm a registered dietitian in New York City, and it's my job to help you figure out what to eat and why. Gut health is an exciting, hot-button topic in the world of health and wellness. More and more research is pointing us toward the connection between our gut and our overall mental and physical well-being. But why do we need to think about our gut health, and what is the optimal way to eat to promote good gut health? When we're talking about your gut, we're talking about your gastrointestinal tract, from the stomach down. All the parts where digestion happens. The human intestinal tract consists of a diverse and complex microbial community, all trying to work together to keep you healthy. Disruption of the gut, like your last weekend bender, stress, lack of sleep, lack of exercise, or generally an unbalanced diet, has been linked to GI issues like inflammatory bowel disease and even obesity. The good news is that it only takes your gut a couple of days to get back into its normal groove. If, let's say, a bachelorette party in Nashville or a destination wedding to Mexico took over your regular routine. Your gut has what's called a microbiome, which is composed of trillions and trillions of bacteria, most of them hanging out in the large intestine. It's important to have top-of-the-line bacteria in your gut because healthy gut bacteria helps the body digest certain foods and ensures proper digestive functioning. It also keeps chronic disease at bay and acts as a barrier to protect our immune system. It plays a role in body weight, metabolism, mental health, appetite, and of course, digestion. As you can tell, the microbiome is the ultimate example of how all the systems in the body are connected. Probiotics and prebiotics. Probiotics are so good for you that if it were up to me, I'd dive into a gut-friendly bacteria bath if I could. When you eat good bacteria, aka probiotics, like yogurt, kefir, tempeh, or fermented foods like kimchi or sauerkraut, they get all comfy in your gut and help you digest foods properly and maintain the peace between the good bacteria and the bad bacteria. Plus, they make nutrients more bioavailable to absorb. Because probiotics are hard at work, like all the time, it's really important to feed these little guys. Probiotics gotta eat too. So we want to add more prebiotics to your diet. You know, those non-digestible carbohydrates like bananas, berries, asparagus, garlic, onions, and leeks. They create helpful short-chain fatty acids and work in tandem with probiotics in creating a symbiotic environment in the gut. So you want to consume both pro and prebiotics, ideally from food and not just supplements, to keep the gut happy and healthy. Eating bread for better gut health? But rye? Well, I'll tell you. A new study found that both fermented yeast and lactic acid found in rye bread can offer a host of benefits. Rye bread can produce branched-chain amino acids and amino acid-containing small peptides, which can improve gut health, balance blood sugar levels, and lower the risk of cardiovascular disease. Similarly, fermented microbes in sourdough bread can produce gut-friendly compounds. So, next time you're building that Sammy of yours, seek out some rye or sourdough bread to take care of your gut. I gotcha! An apple a day will let the bacteria play? You heard it right. According to research, one apple a day will enhance the diversity of your gut microbiome. One apple could contain as many as 100 million bacteria. But don't worry, that's a good thing. The more diverse your gut bacteria is, the less likely it is for one bacteria to become dominant enough to make you sick. A vegetarian diet may improve gut health. Why am I not surprised? In research of roughly 12,000 people around the world, those that consumed more than 30 different types of plants a week had a more diverse microbiome and had a lower resistance to antibiotics. Plus, there was a significant difference shown in the gut microbiome between a vegetarian diet and those who ate meat. The nutrients in veggies, like vitamin A, C, K, and fiber, help refuel the growth of healthy bacteria. Do I dare say that veggies are good for gut health? I think so. Fiber from whole grains feed helpful bacteria in the gut. Be wary of removing those lovely carbs, which is typical on diets like keto and paleo. Excluding whole grains can reduce the beneficial bugs and allow harmful bacteria to park in the good bacteria spot. If you are on a grain-restricted diet, make a solid effort to add a healthy dose of pre and probiotics into your life. Yes, it's as easy as that. The more you drink, the better your gut health. Maintaining a balanced and regular GI tract through adequate water intake plays an integral role in the way food is digested and absorbed. Is anyone else thirsty now? While we know it's delicious, it's not what the doctor ordered for your gut. A growing body of evidence is finding that a high sugar diet can alter gut bacteria. Plus, refined sugar stimulates the growth of harmful bacteria, known as candida, that can damage your gut lining. Ain't nothing got a heartache. I think we can all agree that highly processed foods, think foods that have a long shelf life and a laundry list of ingredients, are not the key to longevity or optimal gut health. Research has linked these foods to a less diverse microbiome, which puts a kibosh on beneficial bacteria growth. Well, you may have seen this one coming, but there is a link between a meat-based diet, gut bacteria, and the risk of heart disease. People who ate red meat as their main source of protein instead of white meat or non-meat sources for 1 month had an increase in TMAO, trimethylamine N oxide, a byproduct associated with heart issues. That ain't great. Because bacteria changes swiftly in the gut, which can either be a good or bad thing, a meat-heavy diet can lead to negative shifts in bacteria in as little as 2 days. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but according to research, heavy drinking has the ability to promote intestinal inflammation and negatively impact the gut. Plus, heavy alcohol intake can overstimulate your intestines. Basically, it's trying to get rid of that White Claw ASAP, which may prompt you to have diarrhea, another thing that can mess with your gut microbiome. Hey you, I'll meet you on the dance floor. Taking care of your gut is an essential part of maintaining a healthy lifestyle. It affects so many aspects of your health, mentally and physically. Follow my tips for eating to support that gut health, and I promise your body will thank you. Now, go with your gut. See you next time for another episode of You vs. Food. After subscribing to Well and Good's YouTube channel, I bet you...
All right. She is one of my favorite dietitians, and she got popular because of COVID. And she's easy to find. Her name is Tracy Lockwood Beckerman. So if you want to rewatch that video, I would recommend it because she provides a lot of wonderful information. So now I'm going to make you guys work as soon as I can find my, yep, here we go. All right, here we go, yep. Okay, so now I need you guys to look at your work. So we're going to see how well you think you might have done with these pre and probiotics when it comes to your food choices. So, all right. So again, this is a general list. So first of all, if you've consumed any fruits or vegetables in the last 24-hour periods, please write them down. These are some very specific ones, but again, the whole message is 5 a day, fruits and vegetables, the rainbow way, and hopefully you remember that from, again, to try to make sure you're getting in pre and probiotics. So prebiotics, again, will mainly come from lots of the fruits and vegetables that you eat. These are just some of the ones that are high. So with that said, did they eat fruits and vegetables yesterday? What did you have?
Banana, grapes, strawberries, blueberries, apple.
All right. She said an apple a day. Think about all those friendly bacteria that you consume.
Tomato is a fruit or
It's a vegetable, but it's all good. This is what I tell my students. A vegetable is not sweet. If it's sweet, it's a fruit.
okay.
When it comes to the nutritional profile, though, they're pretty similar, all right? So the nutritional profile for fruits and vegetables are very similar, and that is why when I was in school, way back when, I'm going to be 63, but anyway, it was the fruit and vegetable group. It was one and the same. It wasn't until I was a dietitian that the government decided to separate them out because we wanted to encourage people to eat more fruits and vegetables, so we separated them out. All right, but anyway, so this is just a classic, and again, it's very easy to find food lists on the internet. My recommendation, if you're looking for anything, you go into the Google search, you say PDF list of foods that are prebiotics. I always do the PDF so it comes up basically as a handout. If it doesn't, then you have to deal with all the ads, and it just makes it very hard to find stuff.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So I did have kiwi.
Okay.
Yesterday. I had peaches.
Okay.
Had cherries.
Okay.
But asparagus, generally, you would eat that kind of steamed. Like
Right. It's okay. Yep.
And leeks, you wouldn't eat those raw.
Nope, that's all right. That's not going to affect it. So that's a really good question. No, not when it comes to the pre or probiotics. It's not going to affect it. In actuality, probiotics, if you listen to Tracy, they are fermented. So that's a lot of cooking, yes. Probiotics are found in lots of the fermented. The only big downside with some of that, it's high in sodium. So we have to play that balancing act, especially with the sauerkraut and the kefir. But all that stuff is really, really good. The miso and all those things are really good with prebiotics. Probiotics, sorry. I mix them up all the time. All right, so again, when it comes to prebiotics, if you try to enjoy 5 a day fruits and vegetables the rainbow way, a wide variety, which you both shared with me, good variety, you're going to hopefully keep your gut happy because you are constantly introducing friendly bacteria. So the other thing you have to remember, it has to be done on a regular basis because guess what? It is a one-way track. We don't want things sticking around there. They need to come in, do their job, and move out, all right? So it's not, oh, I did that a couple days ago. That's why she said an apple a day. All right. And again, here are again another few food items that are rich in prebiotics. So again, she talked about the whole grains, and again, nuts and seeds and beans. So any of these foods that you might be eating on a regular basis, I know I just asked you to look at the 24-hour thing, but to think back to what you buy, what's in your pantry.
I have celiac, so wheat is out of the question.
Okay, all right. So you can focus on flaxseed, soybeans. There are a lot of other options if you have to stay gluten-free.
Yeah,
So it's
and I do that.
And barley is definitely gluten-free, and it is a very healthy. I feel like it's one of those grains, at least at my Kroger's, it's hard to find. It's they have it, but it's like up at the top shelf, and there's only a small, yes. But barley, and oats. So there are other ways if you have to avoid gluten because of other reasons.
Can you use barley in place of wheat?
You could try it, yes, yeah. Oh, absolutely, in cooking, yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah. And same with oats, so you could do stuff like that, yeah. And you can buy almond flour now. There's almond flour that you can buy, yes. One of my really good friends, she is gluten-free and she's a vegan. So she's always fun to cook for when she comes to my house. I said, you are a dietitian's dream because you're putting me to the test. And I love it. All right. Okay, so again, probiotics. Like I said, they are a lot of sodium because most of them are pickled. They're fermented. So again, those dill pickles, who likes dill pickles this time of the year? I always think of pickles in the summertime, I guess because of all the grill outs. But again, we just gotta balance it because of the high sodium issue with most of the, type thing. Look at that, dark chocolate. heart healthy. I mean, the American heart, a little dark chocolate goes a long way, but the key is to keep it to moderation. So, add that with the little added sugar you're allowed a day. And, if you can just be satisfied with a small piece of dark chocolate candy, you are good to go and no guilt.
What is kefir? Is that a flour or?
No, kefir is a yogurt. It's a liquid yogurt. Yeah, it's a liquid yogurt. You'll find it in the dairy. It's great to make smoothies. I know the health nerd talked about smoothies. I always tell people, if you're going to do smoothies, make them yourself. Don't buy pre-made because they are much healthier. Because if you use kefir and you use frozen or fresh fruit, it's all good. It's those pre-made naked juices. I'm like, oh, please stay away from them. I know everybody likes them. They taste good, but when it comes to nutrition, no, they're loaded. All right. I have to mention this just because it is a very popular way of taking care of your gut, but the FODMAP eating plan is extremely complicated and very restrictive. I will encourage people to avoid it, but it is a very popular thing that is recommended to anybody that is having GI issues, if it's small intestines, large intestines, whatever. It is out there, it's very complicated, and if you want to go down that road, again, just like I said, you really need to sit down one-on-one and talk to a registered dietitian because it is a very complicated thing. All right? So we talked about the prebiotics and the probiotics. We need to talk, and we talked about keeping the added sugar, avoid the processed foods, meatless Mondays, if you drink alcohol, moderation, all right? So these are very, very important for gut health, okay? All right. How are we doing on time? We're doing okay?
10 more minutes.
Okay,
Actually,
great.
I
All right. Gotcha. Thank you for coming, and I'm so sorry for all the complication.
Thank you.
I assume they'll have this access, so if you need it. All right, so let's move down to the colon, all right? So we have the colon. All right, are you familiar with all those terminologies? Diverticulitis, appendicitis, hemorrhoids, IBS, cancer, okay, all right. Believe it or not, a lot of this stuff is because of chronic constipation. I know this is always an embarrassing topic, but you know how often you should be going to the bathroom.
I know I go a lot.
Okay.
Because of celiac.
Oh, that's true. That is true, which is okay, all right. It's the people that don't go on a regular basis, all right? Because that stuff sitting in your colon is causing problems. Basically, it should take the food for a GI tract that doesn't have any complications. It should take 24 to 48 hours for what you've put in your mouth, waste to be ready to come out. So I tell people going to the bathroom 3 times a day is very normal because breakfast waste and lunch waste should never catch up with itself. Or lunch and dinner should never. So if you go 3 times a day, basically, if it's down there and you feel like you need to go, you should go. But in today's society, so many of us ignore it. We're too busy. We don't have time. We can't find privacy. I could go on and on. So we cause chronic constipation, which then leads or puts you at risk for lots of problems to happen to your colon. Okay? All right. So the big thing I push is fiber, water, exercise. Fiber, water, exercise. That is, and then of course, the probiotics, of course, definitely very important for the large. All right. Since we're running out of time, I'm not going to show the fiber video, but it's a really good video just talking about how important fiber is, okay? And it's Healthline, and you can find it. So Healthline is the show, and all you have to do is put in high fiber foods, and it hopefully would pop for you. But I don't want us to run out of time. So, all right. The other thing about fiber is it's also very important to help people manage their blood sugars, their heart disease, decrease their risk, and weight control. So fiber is essential, and most people only eat maybe 10 to 14 grams of fiber a day. And do you know what the magic number is?
A lot more than that.
It is 25. 25. So with that said, can you look at what you ate and see if you can come up with some ideas of how much fiber you consumed based on your 24-hour recall?
Okay, so I had a spinach salad, that's
Okay.
fiber.
Okay, so vegetables, 4 to 6 grams, it'll vary.
Okay, I had the apple.
Oh, the apple, again, another 4 to 6.
Well, I had the bananas, the grapes, the strawberries.
All right. All right, so why don't we do it this way? For every serving of fruit you ate, just add up 4.
Okay,
So if you had,
4, 8, 12,
Oh.
16.
all right,
And then I had walnuts, so that's 1.
that's 3. Nuts are about 3.
19.
Yep,
The apple is fruit. So
yep. That would have been,
23.
yeah. How many?
23.
You did it. 25 is what is recommended.
Okay.
Congrats. So the key is to be consistent though, all right? And unfortunately, a lot of people are not. That is why, unfortunately, fiber supplements are very popular. Metamucil, Citrasil, things like that, fiber pills, which if that's the way somebody has to go, I have to honor that and support it because I need them to put the fiber into their body. All right, because so many people do not get enough fiber, and like I said, you need 25. The key is, though, is to eat it. I'm going to have to go back up here. I want you to look here. The aim is to eat enough fiber, but to eat it with each meal. So 5 to 8 grams per meal or 7 grams per about 500 calories is what is recommended. The key is because the fiber is to help push the food through. All right, so that's where I have issues with supplements because then I'm like, all right, well, you have to take a supplement with each meal to try to spread the fiber out, not just do, as my husband does, a glass of Metamucil every morning. I'm like, okay. But he's got me. He does get more fiber throughout the day. But anyway.
He is a manly person.
Yes, yeah, he does. All right. So again, fiber is going to also be part of helping with the pre and probiotics. So very, very essential for gut health. All right, so I always love to say, fiber, water, exercise. All right, I like to end always with my gas thing because a lot of people, yes, we're embarrassed. All right. Once again, a lot of it is caused by our lifestyle. If you chew gum, you swallow a lot of air, you're eating too fast, you drink a lot of carbonated beverages, smokers, again. But I want you guys to look at the bottom line. What happens to us? Yes. So we got a few minutes, so we're going to end with that video, all right? Just for fun, because I like Dr. Mike Evans. And let's see if I can do this. Maybe. We'll see if I can do it. Okay, Dr. Mike Evans, there he is. Did it show up? I didn't. I did not. Okay. Thank you. I did not do something right. That's all right. Okay. What did I not do right? Okay.
I didn't get the exit out of the.
I did not X out. All right. Thank you for telling. Okay, where are you, baby? There you go. Did I do it? I did it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I thought I got it. And I didn't. Oh, well, Nancy. There we go. There we go. He usually pops for me. He's just a fun guy.
My name is Dr. Mike Evans, and I'm flatulent, and I suppose so are you. Now, farting is defined as an expulsion through the rectum of a mixture of gases that are a byproduct of the digestion process. So, I suppose my question today is farting bad? Now, anecdotally, the answer may depend on your gender. My own clinical experience is that men find farting funny and acceptable well into their 80s. Women, I think, stop finding it funny and acceptable at about age 7. Now, we all, men or women, typically fart 10 to 20 times a day, with the average being about 14. But there is a range. For the aforementioned reasons, women tend to hold in their farts, which can have medical consequences such as bloating and abdominal pain. Men occasionally do the opposite and force their farts, which can also have consequences, not always medical. So what makes us fart? Well, I'd say 3 major reasons. Firstly is air swallowing, what we call aerophagia. So chewing gum, eating too fast, drinking carbonated beverages, and smokers who inhale are more flatulent. Secondly is our personal composting system. When we eat things like beans, milk, sweet potatoes, cauliflower, they all contain carbohydrates, which can be hard for our enzymes in our stomach to break down. And these become a magnet for fermentation in the large intestine, which then gives off gas. Methane has gotten a lot of the flatulence press because of the whole flammability factor. But it's the sulfur-containing foods, such as meat and eggs, that give some of our flatness its unique pungency. Flatulence can also depend on your own unique system. So for example, if you are lactose intolerant or have irritable bowels, then this can lead to more gas. So if you want to limit your flatness, you can think about your air swallowing, you can walk more, or you can adjust your diet and so on. If you're looking for something more effective and you want to get a start on your Christmas list, I suggest airtight charcoal-lined underwear as an excellent choice. Or just a charcoal pillow. But this, of course, requires time. Now, it's interesting, at least to me, that the research that examined the charcoal filters measured the smelliness factor, or what they called objectionable flatness. Kind of like volunteering for mosquito bite research, if you ask me, but in this small study, it turns out that women's farts did, in fact, smell more than men's, as judged by the experts. I know, crazy, but a useful stat all the same, and perhaps a point for discussion at your next dinner party. But here's the thing, I get that there may be some inopportune moments for a flatness announcement, but I think in the big picture, flatulence is actually excellent. Here's why. When I was 20, I would eat a bag of popcorn or potato chips or a plate of fries, and I would feel great. Now, I eat it and I feel unwell, which, by the way, didn't stop me for many years. Now, I feel better when I eat the foods that make me fart. Legumes, beans, broccoli, lentils, and so on. I fart more, sure, but farting to me is a sign of a healthy lifestyle. Maybe it's not our farting we need to change, but our attitude. As they say, you can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails.
Yeah, I've used that video many times. So, all right. So I know we're running out of time. So again, bottom line is, and we'll go to it. Yep, I did that. Okay, I'm going to go to the bottom line. Hold on. Where? Okay. Got it. Thought I did. Did I get it? I did get it. Okay. Again, is trying to eat a variety of foods from all 5 food groups if you can. So again, even though you can't eat grains per se, it doesn't mean you can enjoy grain-free foods, and there's a lot of them out there. Thank goodness that the food industry has stepped up, because there's many people that are gluten-free. Fruits, vegetables, like I said, I always encourage the Rainbow Way. Lean proteins, definitely promoting a plant-based diet, which gets me back to Dr. Evans, because a plant-based diet means enjoying lots of beans. And again, beans definitely might cause a lot of gas production. It just takes time. I always remind people there are people in this world that live on beans all the time. And that's where I throw in the Mediterranean lifestyle, which is a gold standard. The DASH diet is too. And those are diets that are gold standards. You can find information on them on the internet. And they really do mirror the Choose My Plate, the 5 food groups. It's just they're really based in promoting a plant-based diet. So they're really promoting eating more plant-based proteins versus animal-based proteins. That's probably the biggest difference when you compare that to the Choose My Plate. All right, we've already talked about trying to stay away from added sugar. Hopefully I've scared you a little bit about added sugar, which I will be the first to admit. I'm sugar addicted. It's very hard. Again, sodium is still something we need to pay attention to. Highly processed foods. I try to tell people trying to eat foods as close to Mother Nature as possible. I know can be very difficult depending on your lifestyle, but highly processed foods, just like Tracy said, if they have a long ingredient list, if they have a long shelf life, probably don't want to be consuming them. Trying to stick to fresh and frozen, if you can, like this time of year, if you can buy local, is very good. And bottom line is, thank goodness for the food label. We do have a valuable tool. Not everybody has access, so having that food label to read and decide to buy something or not to buy something is really good. So I will end on that note. I don't know if you have any more questions. We can talk.
I just have one. They have like veggie burgers now.
Yep.
Or plant burgers or
Yep.
something as opposed to beef.
Yes.
What is your thoughts on the?
They're fine, but again, we got to be careful. You want to buy the fresher ones versus the frozen ones, because those, even though they're plant-based, they're highly processed. I am not a big meat eater. I would never call myself a vegan, but I'm not a big meat eater. But a lot of that stuff in the freezer section is still very highly processed. Ultimately, if you could make your own would be the key. Making your own, and there's a lot of recipes out there, but if you don't have time, again, they do have a fresh plant-based stuff in the meat section. So that's where I would gear somebody to. Yeah. But the frozen stuff, it's pricey and it's still pretty highly processed. So I feel like it's like, am I really doing my body any good type thing? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much.
Anytime. I enjoy doing this stuff immensely. So, well, thank you. I have a lot of fun. And again, thank you for everybody's help and patience with getting everything set up.